In our next one, we've got the Cincinnati Bengals going on the road to take on the San Francisco 49ers.
Yeah, man, this is going to be a test, I think, to measure the grit of the 49ers. It sounds like Brock Purdy might be out. I think this is the latest that I've heard. I think it looks like he got a concussion. So if this is true, come in Sam Darnold, all the Sam Darnold fans out there. Uh, I mean, this is the opportunity that you all been waiting for. Again, if this is the case, they definitely missed, I think, Debo Samuel last game, and then I think it was also Trent Williams. When they lost against the Vikings, I think having those types of players, I think, was key. Again against a Vikings team that's definitely playing a lot better, more efficiently, not turning the ball over, and they've historically kept games close anyways. So, yeah, that I think that definitely hurt Brock Purdy some, and yeah, if they're not without him, and then also if they're not without either Debo or Trent Williams, that could be some major detractors, I think, against a Bengals team that I think if they're just hungry. They're just hungry to get some W's. So I'm going to go with the Bengals here. Bengals are a 3.5 point underdog. It's going to be, uh, it's going to be a road game for the Bengals here. So, but yeah, I don't know. I feel like those major injuries, if maybe two out of those three injuries I was talking about, Purdy, Debo, and Trent Williams, if two out of three of those players are out, like it's going to be a tough victory for them, or tough game overall, I think, for them against the Bengals. Defensively, maybe they are able to get some turnovers, but yeah, I think Joe Burrow and that team, they've been playing a lot better offensively, so I feel like they get a W here.
Yeah, no, I'm honestly with you, especially if we. I mean, I'm not to say like Purdy's been playing like untouchable football lately, but like to not have him there and to bring in Darnold against a team that still I consider to be a top contender in this league, especially how they've played, at least in their last couple of games before their bye. I think Cincinnati can come and bring it. I mean, Cousins almost threw for 400 yards against San Francisco last week. So, as much as we talk about their defense, I mean, without Jay Jets, them able to put up 400 yards in the air just about. I mean, I think Burrow can do that same kind of thing, especially being a little bit better rested. And yeah, like you're saying, with some other playmakers not on the field for San Francisco, they become less and less of a threat. Um, you know, without some of their top build guys there. I mean, when everyone's healthy, that's what makes them so, sexy from like an upside perspective. It's like when you can put a couple Pro Bowl receivers on the outside with Kittle, and then you got McCaffrey and Purdy playing his game with that stout defense. Like when the whole package comes together, it's one of the best packages in the game. But San Francisco perennially has been kind of dogged by the injury, and they've got a lot of guys that are honestly pretty injury prone at this point. Where in weeks like this, when you're facing a team that really is starting to get back on the right track and needs to stay on the right track, like since he's going to come out and want to play obviously their best football, they're not going to take them lightly, and they're going to go in there super hungry. So I'm with you. I think it's going to be, again, a slim margin because the 49ers play extremely competitive football every week. But I think Cincinnati's got enough to take them out.
If Sam Darnold, if he does ball out, if he passes for 300 yards, maybe Debo and Trent Williams are there to help him out a little bit. And you're Kyle Shanahan, like, do you consider taking out Brock Purdy? Like, would that be an overreaction or what?
A little bit, because I would think you'd want to give a kid who has done nothing but good to this point some extra leash. Like it'd be an overreaction to just bench Purdy outright if he's healthy for one great week of Sam Darnold, who we've seen, obviously in this league for a handful of seasons now, has had more failures than successes. I do think, and I thought this was maybe where you're going with it, is like, could you see Sam Darnold being a capable starter, for the 49ers? Like, I think this is the best opportunity he's ever going to have. Like this is going to be the most perfect thing for Sam Darnold if he's able to get on the field and play some football. To have an extremely intelligent coach with good protection, the weapons that you pretty much need to be successful in the NFL. Like he's never going to get the most out of himself anywhere else but this opportunity. So I see success in his future when he's able to take the helm. But yeah, for me, like I think the league has learned a little bit about what to do in order to maybe contain the San Francisco 49ers offense a bit. Like you do put that pressure on Purdy, you do stack that box and like make him beat you. That's your best bet. And it's worked a couple weeks now. So whether or not Purdy can be resilient to that, we'll find out. I think he'll be resilient enough. Like I've never looked at Purdy even in his undefeated streak and thought Tom Brady or Joe Burrow or any like these really uber talented type of guys just because he had a good start. But I do think like, hey, in this system, with his ability to protect the football and make smart plays, like he can be a top 10, top 15 quarterback easily week in, week out.
Yeah. I mean, this definitely is like, I think, at least from the Sam Darnold standpoint, like this is him auditioning for whatever next contract, whether it's a backup role or if he does really ball out, like maybe, yeah, he's able to get starting position. I don't know where. I feel like all the teams that he's left are like, yeah, we're good. We're good. It's totally fine. Like, they're like, yeah, we need a quarterback, but we already tried you. So, um, but yeah, it's definitely like I don't know. I see Brock Purdy. Like a lot of people mention that. Like if you stick Brock Purdy in any other team, like is he going to be as good as he is right now with the most talented roster like in the NFL? It's hard to say, right? But he's doing what the best he can with what he has, and he's played pretty damn well, I think, to this point. So he definitely deserves, yeah, for sure, to have a starting role. Yeah, even if Sam Darnold, passes for 500 yards, 5 touchdowns, or whatever. So, but I mean, yeah, Purdy, uh, yeah, concussion. He does have that rookie contract too, so that always helps. But yeah, definitely gonna be a starter, I think, for the remainder of the year, no matter what happens with Sam Darnold.
Yeah. I mean, where you enter in the NFL, the type of system you're able to like find yourself in, like it's definitely a ton of luck involved in like
Mm-hmm.
basically your opportunity, your ability to be, well coached, the plays being designed to kind of match your talent or you just kind of fitting other folks' talent. Like, these systems like San Fran, let's maybe call it like the LA Rams, with McVay, Mike McDaniels maybe in Miami. There's just some other place. I mean, I even think the Vikings do a really great job at creating, offense and things like that. Like, if Brock Purdy or Darnold are members of the Chicago Bears or the Washington Commanders, like they're different football players. I mean, they're still the same talent, but like those systems, those coaches, that history, it's just not gonna tailor similar outcomes. Like so I think I try to temper my my outlook and expectations for a guy like Purdy in his career if he's not part of the Niners because it's like yeah, man, there's a lot of other quarterbacks floating around the NFL right now that would love to be the starting quarterback of the San Francisco 49ers. And like, it is a different experience for sure.
Yeah, I mean it. Yeah, the system coaching that's so essential, I think, to whatever quarterback that you have. Like I'm looking at the first round, first overall pick quarterbacks. I'm like, these are supposed to be the most talented quarterbacks. Yeah, in that draft class, and it's like I don't know. There's so many that don't turn out. So I don't. For me, a lot of it's just hype. Like, yeah, I think the previous couple ones there has, obviously Bryce Young. I guess we'll give him a flyer for this year, but Trevor Lawrence, Joe Burrow, good picks there. I think. Kyler Murray though, and then Baker Mayfield, Jared Goff, Jameis Winston. And then we get some couple good ones here with Andrew Luck and Cam Newton, but then we go back to Sam Bradford and then a good one and Matthew Stafford. And then there's Jamarcus Russell. It's just hit or miss. It's hit or miss, I feel like, even if you have the first overall pick. So, yeah, I think system, and I think I talked about this before in the last episode. It's like, I think let's just build around build an awesome team and then let's pick a quarterback that fits whatever system the offensive coordinator was running there, and we'll see what happens there. And yeah, maybe get a vet type of quarterback in there like a Sam Darnold and kind of show the ropes a little bit. So I don't know. I feel like that's just a better recipe for success than taking in whatever quarterback and just sticking them in there and in a crappy situation and kind of have them, run and get hit at the same time a bunch. So I feel like that's just a better recipe for success. But um, yeah, I don't know. I definitely do like the story though that Brock Purdy, Mr. Irrelevant and coming into an awesome, system, team, people that know what they're doing, right? I think that's essential for whatever success you for whatever quarterback in order for them to be successful. So
Yeah. I think it's a good model for sustainable success. Like I think you taking that approach and building a complete football team around, a quarterback that we can find that will fit the system. I think that's a way, like maybe Seattle Seahawks envision when they, originally drafted Russ and then they've, gone to Geno in the second, phase of the peak era, I guess in Seattle. But it's like that helped to create sustainable winners for these programs. Even a Pittsburgh Steelers, like grabbing maybe they used a higher pick on Kenny Pickett. It wasn't at the top of the first round, but it's like maybe they kind of know like we know how to build out our team where we supplement that quarterback. We can stay in the hole and win long term. I think the only detriment to it, in my opinion, is your ultimate upside, is your ultimate ability to win championship games. Because it's like when you think about the teams that have actually won the Super Bowl, I would say that like a lion's share had elite level quarterbacks and like went the painful route of building the Joe Burrow Bengals or the Peyton Manning Colts or um, we could maybe think about some other guys as we go along here. Like it feels like the Chargers tried to do that with Herbert, and then we have Trevor Lawrence with the Jaguars. They've tried to go that hard route as well. So it's like it can kind of give you mixed outcomes, but I think your logic is right. Like you build a team around building a superior roster and then supplementing it with that value quarterback. Like you are going to be a 500 or better football team for a decade or more, something like that.
exactly, yeah. Albeit, for whatever Ravens team, right? Ravens kind of, we could put them in that formula where they had, awesome defense, running game, offensive line, wideouts, right? Even, but yeah, they're just mediocre quarterbacks. And then yeah, you take in a talented player like Lamar Jackson and literally design an entire team around him, and he wins MVP, his first year starting, right? So it's like I don't know. I feel like that's a recipe for success a lot more. And similar thing to Kansas City as well. It's like that definitely, they traded up for Patrick Mahomes. They, obviously you have an offensive genius right there with Andy Reid, but yeah, like they definitely played to their strengths of molding into a quarterback that, and having one of the smartest quarterbacks in Alex Smith too to help, for Patrick Mahomes to learn from. Like, I don't know, I feel like that's all valuable there. So, um, but yeah, I do like what the Jaguars are doing though. Just, I mean, definitely helps to have like two number one overall picks, back to back years. So, but yeah, ceiling wise, yeah, I don't know. I feel like, yeah, who are the past couple ones? I mean, obviously Patrick Mahomes, they're winning the Super Bowl. Um, I mean, yeah, Matthew Stafford, I guess. So you got a number one overall, and then Patrick Mahomes, who, you know, he was what 10th, I think, but still had an awesome, team built around him. So I don't know. Yeah, I think there's just a lot to be had with the guy that, but I feel like there's so much that gets put onto that quarterback and like trading up for a quarterback first overall pick. Like, I don't know how many times does that work versus not. Like, I understand if you have an awesome team and maybe you're looking for that, like a Patrick Mahomes, right? That just has insurmountable type of talent and you have a roster where you can just stick them right in there. Like, yeah, like the Patrick Mahomes and Lamar Jackson. I think that's a great example of building an awesome team, having, yeah, some sort of veteran quarterback that kind of segues into, all right, let's draft a quarterback, yeah, maybe first round and see if we can build off from that. So I feel like that's a much better recipe for success than like, all right, Kyler Murray, and we know you're short and everything. let's see what we can do with here. So I don't know. I just feel like
Yeah,
there's a lot of hype that goes into the quarterbacks these days.
I'm completely with you. Like, I think if I'm drafting a quarterback in the first round, I want it to almost be a no brainer. Like, I want to go into it this year how we were talking about CJ Stroud. I would have grabbed CJ Stroud. I didn't feel particularly great about Bryce Young.
Hmm.
I think Anthony Richardson ended up being better than I expected him to be. Will Levis, but I wouldn't have used any of those first round picks on any of those other guys besides CJ Stroud. If we go back to like a Burrow year, a Herbert, a Trevor Lawrence, those are guys that I would consider up in that first round territory. Like I'm comfortable doing that and taking that risk. But I'm with you. If I feel like it's a guy that's fringy, like when we're trading multiple picks to take Mitch Trubisky, we're like, are we even sure what we have here, even to take him with that first pick without trading that
Yeah,
extra capital? Like, that was a real scary thing to do. Like that's a very volatile thing to do.
yeah,
What Carolina did to trade up for Bryce, was a little bit dangerous to me. I was like, man, that's a little testy. Like you're trading another first round pick for this guy. Like, um, you know, uh, it's a fair gamble maybe for a team to make, but like, man, I don't know. It's just you need 53 guys that can play football in the NFL
hmm,
at a very high level to get yourself to a championship. Like, why take away one or two or three or four of those top end picks to bring over one person unless you're like, even if you're like 100% certain about them, you're still taking away four top end guys that you need in your nucleus to be a championship team.
yeah. I mean, yeah, this is why the GMs get paid a bunch of money, and this is also why they get scrutinized a bunch. But yeah, I don't know. I just find it really interesting of like different ways that top franchises, I think, are able to build their teams. Like, yeah, there's definitely no written script of one way to do it or not, but I think I admire what the Ravens do, and then also what the Chiefs do, and then also, yeah, now Steelers too as well, like how they're able to build consistent winning teams going forth. I was gonna say the Packers, but not anymore. I feel like now, so but yeah, I guess jury's still out a little bit for Jordan Love. Just hasn't been promising, and yeah, they're just not producing. But yeah, I think having a solid team around, at least a good offensive line, I think, with a quarterback and offensive minded head coach or good scheming, right? I think those things are very beneficial to a young quarterback, first overall or not. So,
Gotcha. Yeah, I'm on the same. Yeah, I'm on the same page there. I have some additional thoughts. Maybe I'll table for next week on quarterback prospects and things like that. But